Welcome to Onward and Upward with Leslie E. Royal. I'm Leslie, and I will be interviewing exceptional African American women who have made an amazing difference in their local and global community. One such genius woman is Anita Thomas, who is the host of Travel Bags with Annita syndicated radio show and a brand ambassador for O The Oprah Magazine. Welcome, Anita. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much, Leslie, for having me. It is quite a pleasure to be here and chat with you.
Thank you so very much. In addition to being such an accomplished woman, you are actually a friend of mine, and I am honored that you have joined me.
That's right. We've been friends for quite a few years now and met at a beautiful location in the Caribbean, and a friendship just began right there and has continued through the years.
Yes, it certainly has, and I value it so much. And I tell you, I believe we were in the U.S. Virgin Islands, weren't we?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, indeed. I tell you, we were there and we were just enjoying the beautiful island and enjoying one another's company. And I found you to have such a wealth of information. And during the 3 or 4 days that we were there, you were talking, I was talking, other ladies were talking, and we just really felt a connection. And I'm so thankful that you decided that we should form a group. You were the founder. I'm a founding member of the International Media Ladies. And since then, you have been such a dear friend to all of us. You have given us so much information. Whenever anyone calls on you, you are there to support us. And I just want to thank you for that.
Oh, well, you are so welcome. And Leslie, I have to say, I mean, I really feel like your contribution and all of your resources that you've shared with the ladies through the years has been really what has solidified really the group that we put together. So thank you very much for that. But that was the whole purpose of the International Media Ladies, was to support each other and be there to provide answers to questions or challenges and things like that that may come up. So I think we were able to accomplish that.
Thank you so much for being so kind. And I agree with you. And why is it important for African American women to support each other and create resource groups such as this?
Well, I think it's important just in general, but especially for African American women, because a lot of times we are not in the positions or we're not part of the groups that you can find a lot of the resources. So if one of us has that, we definitely need to share it with other African American women who are in similar careers that we are, or maybe even if they're not, if we have some information and some resources that we can share, because those resources are not always readily available for us. So if we have them, we should share, and it should be shared back. It should be a reciprocal type arrangement.
I certainly agree, my friend. I tell you, I've got a list of questions for you, and so I'm going to be looking at my notes here. But the first question that I have is, how did you come to be interested in travel?
Oh, well, this is a story that goes way back, Leslie, but thank you for asking that, because I feel like it is kind of the story of my life, because travel has been a part of my life, really all of my life. But I would say it goes all the way back to being a little girl and sitting really at my father's feet as he would tell stories of his time in World War II. And he would talk about the little cafes on little side streets in Paris and the cobblestone streets, and being in North Africa and just in Morocco, and just all of these stories about the people and the places and the scenery. And he would describe it all so well. And I would want to know, well, where is this place? And will I ever be able to go? And does this place really even exist? So I just loved hearing his stories. And then he also started a subscription to National Geographic. And National Geographic was a staple on our coffee table. And my sister and I would wait. I mean, we were waiting and not fighting, but we would kind of tussle over who would get to see the National Geographic first. And I just learned a lot about different countries and cultures and people and just things like that from reading that magazine. So it's always been a part of my life. But as I got older and after I finished college, I decided to apply with an airline. So I applied with Pan American World Airways and was accepted, and couldn't believe it that I'd actually was going to be hired and be able to go and travel around the world and have this dream of seeing these places that I just only heard my father tell stories of or read it in magazines. So I started a 13-year career with Pan Am. And then when Pan Am went out of business, I had various other careers in travel. I worked for the Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau and was there during the time of the Olympics, and worked for a travel business management company called Rosenbluth, where I managed a leadership program that was all around the world. So I had a chance to travel again. And then after that, I started the radio show. So my whole life, like I said, has been all about travel.
I love it. You travel the world. I feel like I'm traveling with you. I see all of the beautiful places you visited. As a matter of fact, I've gone on a few trips with you. What are some of your favorite cities and countries?
When people ask me that, Leslie, the first thing that pops into my mind is the city, Hong Kong, the country city, Hong Kong. I love, love, love Hong Kong for a lot of different reasons. And some of the reasons that people may not like it. It's very crowded. There's a lot of busyness, hustle bustle, people coming and going, different smells. All of your senses really are kind of tapped into. But I've just always had a really nice time when I've been there. Great food, of course, great shopping. I know you and I both love to shop. And great shopping there, and it's just a wonderful place. The people have always been friendly. I feel comfortable, going around and doing things. So Hong Kong is just always one of the places that first kind of jumps in my mind. But I also love Africa and just the whole continent, really. I love West Africa, South Africa, East Africa. My time with Pan Am, I had a chance to travel to all of those places in my career since then as well, to some of the countries. But Africa is just, it truly is for me the homeland. I feel a sense of going home when I go there. It doesn't matter which part. It could be South Africa as well as West Africa. I just feel that that's where I belong when I'm there. So really enjoy that.
I love it. I love it. Now, let me ask you, what are some of the cities that you like to visit here in the United States?
Well, that's a good question too, because one of those cities is Savannah. And I know that's hometown for you, but it's just something about Savannah. It just has a very cool, kind of laid back atmosphere to it, beautiful architecture. The homes in Savannah are just exquisitely beautiful. And again, it's great food. Food is a big part of my experience with travel and seeing different cultures and meeting different people. I think it's one of the things that unifies us is a meal. So food is definitely a big part of it. And you can have some really good food in Savannah.
You absolutely can. Oh my goodness, I love Savannah. As you shared, that's my hometown. And when I travel, I often get people to ask me, what is your favorite city? What is your favorite country? And I tell them every place is different, but certainly the most beautiful city in the world is Savannah, Georgia. And they allow me that because it's my hometown.
Well,
And
it's also true. So
thank you so much. Indeed, indeed. Now, I want to talk a little about this wonderful syndicated radio show you have called Travel Bags with Anita. Tell us a little about it.
Well, Travel Bags with Anita is a radio show that is really all about providing information for people to get off the sofa, put down those glossy brochures, and even magazines like National Geographic, my favorite one, put those down and go out and have the experiences for yourself. So that's really what I'm always trying to weave into all of my radio shows is the inspiration really to get out and travel, whether it is a small short trip, because those count as well. It's not always a big trip all the way across the ocean, to a foreign land. It can be small trips as well. but really just wanting to inspire people. And a lot of my focus is for the empty nesters and the baby boomers. Baby boomers is the group, the generation that I fall into. But these are people a lot of times too who may have put travel kind of on the back burner while they were raising the kids, or while they were, finishing up careers or things like that, and not having enough time to travel. So now's their time. So my inspiration really goes a lot to them, for them to kind of definitely put down those brochures and let's go do it now. But the show comes on twice a month, every other Saturday, and I cover all different topics. I mean, everything from destinations to how to travel with your dog, or have great guests like yourself on to talk about budgeting and the importance of that, and how you can budget for a trip and take some of these trips that seem like they may be dream destinations, that you can actually go there. I've been doing the show now for about 7 years, and it's just a pleasure to do it. I really really enjoy it, and it's never lost on me though, the importance of making sure that the information that I am giving is information that people can use to make a decision for a trip that they want to take, because people listening will make a decision based on the information that I share.
Oh, yes. Well, I love, love, love that you're focusing on empty nesters and baby boomers. And I was on your show once or twice before, and I really, really, really enjoyed being there, and certainly enjoy listening to your wonderful show. And many people feel like they would love to travel, whether it's traveling abroad or traveling here in the States or even regionally. But for some reason, they feel like they can't afford it. So, how is it we could sort of rewire our thoughts and figure out a way to focus on ourselves and plan a trip for ourselves within budget?
Well, that's a very good question, and that's one that I'm usually asking you, Leslie. Because when I think of budgeting and that type thing, especially around travel, you are always the person who comes to mind. But I think you mentioned part of the question, a very important part of it, and that is looking at ourselves and valuing that we deserve to take this trip, because I think that is part of sometimes the hesitation with people, is that, oh, it's going to cost a lot, or it's going to be a lot of money and I don't know if I can afford it. And I will say that putting aside a little bit of money throughout the year to have a travel vacation budget, and really focus on where you want to go and finding ways to make that fit within your budget. I mean, it can be things like finding deals, um, looking for, opportunities to book your hotel and your airfare much in advance, and not waiting until the last minute, but actually planning. So I would say planning is a huge part of being able to control your budget. Because if you just got to do it at the last minute, I mean, you're not going to have a chance to research and look for those resources that can help you find those discounts and those bargains. But definitely, you want to plan ahead. The other thing I would say too that I feel is really key in the value of your vacation, that where you're putting your money, is to have travel insurance, because travel insurance is a way to secure your travel investment, because that really is what it is, and we need to look at it that way, so that again we feel as though the value is on us to spend the money. You're valuing yourself, but you also want to make sure that if there are any snafus or any mishaps, you will be able to recoup that money if there's a problem. So travel insurance, I think, is also another way to, it may cost a little bit, so make sure you put that in your budget, but it really is a good thing to have in case there are any problems.
That is great advice, Miss Anita, and thank you so much for that travel budget, that travel insurance tip. Yes, indeed, we appreciate that. Now, you also have a blog of the same name, Travel Bags with Anita. So tell us a little about what we can see in your blog.
Well, the blog tends to reflect a lot of what's on the show. Then in addition to that, I will put a lot of travel tips and things like that. I do an annual travel gear publication where I give some advice on different gifts that you can give for Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, birthdays, all throughout the year. There's some wonderful travel gear ideas. And travel gear can be anything from a suitcase to, a phone holder to just really anything that helps make your trip comfortable, more efficient, more organized, all of those things. So it can be a little bit of anything. In that last one, I actually had a really cool shawl that you could put on that had a bug repellent as part of the fabric. So someone may say, well, a shawl doesn't have anything to do with travel, but yes, it does. You may get cool on the airplane, or you may want to have it if you're going on a trip where you're going to a sporting event. You can have it there with you too. There's so many things. So it's really broadening our perspective on really what we think travel gear is. So that's one of the things that I do annually. But I really look for things that I can share for people who are planning a trip to help make their trip more enjoyable and, as I mentioned, more organized and efficient.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that and for taking information from the show, placing it on your blog site. And when we're planning our trips, we can just share your blog post with our family and friends, send it in our Facebook group and things of that nature. So thank you so much for that. And I tell you, thank you for sharing the information on the travel gear, Anita's favorite things. So we're excited to hear about that. And speaking of favorite things, you are an The Oprah Magazine Elite brand ambassador. I think that is so very exciting. And I tell you, I've got my notes here, but you go to the Oprah's favorite things every year. I believe that's in New York. You go on the Holland America cruises with Miss Oprah. You've met her, taken a photo with her. You've seen Gail several times, chatted with her. I tell you, I was so excited when I saw you on the OG Chronicles asking the best question in the world. And you giving the best and them giving the best answer in the world. So please tell us a little about your experience being a wonderful ambassador with this exceptional magazine and this great woman, Oprah. And also, please share the story about the OG Chronicles.
Well, see, I'm laughing. I was going to say I need to share that first to make sure I don't forget, because that actually happened on the Girlfriends cruise that she had not this past January, but January 2019. And as part of it, she and Gail do this OG Chronicle throughout the year. They decided they would do one on the cruise ship. And we had to come up with these questions and everything. And my question was all about, what if you're traveling with your girlfriend and you're upgraded, but she is not? So they gave some very interesting feedback, because I did take that actually did happen to me going on the cruise. And I did take the first class seat. So it was interesting because Oprah and Gail said that they would not have done that. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Oprah, that I disobeyed. I didn't do the right thing. But but it was actually my sister that was traveling with me, so she was okay with it. But it was interesting to see some of the feedback and some of the answers of other people who responded to it. But to answer your question, though, about this experience of being an O Magazine insider, I started in 2017, so it's been a couple of years. And it's really all about supporting the magazine from a brand's perspective. So we work with the magazine with some of the brands that are part of the magazine. So you may see beauty products, or you may see clothing or things like that. So we work with those brands with the magazine. So we have opportunities to do that and get to know some of the brands that are supporting the O Magazine. And you also mentioned Oprah's Favorite Things, and I'm sure everybody has seen Oprah's Favorite Things, at least on TV. So when I was given the invitation to go to the first one, I can tell you, Leslie, I felt like I was in Wonderland. It is truly an experience that, some people would say you have to be a poet to put it into words. It would certainly be reflective of that experience. that you have to be a poet to really put into words how that whole experience feels. And Oprah actually one time said that it's really not so much about the things that you get, but it's more about the experience. And I will say that because you're in a room with that kind of energy, that kind of excitement, and someone is giving you something. So it just makes you have this very special feeling about not only the event, but also too about yourself and the other people that are around you. It's really a very shared experience that I don't know of any other experience that I've had that's quite like that. It's so shared by everyone in the same room, and you just have that same energy. It really is a unique experience. Plus, the things are pretty good too, so I don't want to leave that out. Some really good favorite things. It's an honor actually to be a member of such a great group. A lot of the other ladies that are part of it are very accomplished bloggers, and um, there's a chef in there. There's an attorney. I mean, there's a doctor. There's all kinds of different people that are in the group and part of the group. So it's really very it's just a really nice experience to really be a part of it and share that with such great ladies.
That is so very exciting. I love seeing all of your pictures. I love seeing all of your videos. And you're on panels with The Oprah Magazine staff and experts. That's so very exciting. And when I read The Oprah Magazine, you're featured in there several times a year giving different tips or giving your perspective on certain things. And I really, really, really enjoy seeing it. So thank you so much for allowing us to see you giving us so much wonderful information and insight on various things.
Well, if you don't mind my sharing, I have to also say a very special thank you to you because you actually shared with me the opportunity to apply for that. So I have you to thank for this wonderful experience. So thank you. And going back to what we talked about with the international media ladies, the sharing of resources, I mean, that was truly one of the times when you shared a very valuable resource. And thank you. It's been a great experience.
It is indeed my pleasure. All I did was share the link with you, and you did the rest. You are perfect for this position, and I'm just so excited for you and happy for you. And I tell you, on the OG Chronicles, when I saw that, I weighed in when you posted it to your Facebook page. And you and I have traveled together, and I guess since we're journalists, we understand some people get perks, some people get the hookup, some people get upgrades, and some people don't. So we encourage each other. If you're giving the hookup, take it. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. Indeed, indeed. Well, I tell you, you are such an accomplished woman. You travel and you have such an amazing, wonderful time. And also, you and your wonderful hubby, Doc Bill, another person I admire. You are managing partners of the beautiful Sapelo Island Birdhouses along the Georgia coast. So please tell us a little about those wonderful vacation rentals.
Well, thank you very much for asking about that because when you do something that is really dear to your heart, it is really more about the passion and the love of it more than it is the work. And I would say that that is definitely the Sapelo Island Birdhouses. My husband and I started some vacation rental cottages down on the coast of Georgia on the island Sapelo, which is a barrier island off the coast of Georgia. And really, the whole full story of it is that we went there on our honeymoon. It's part of the places we visit on our honeymoon. We met a family. We met a lady, Cornelia Bailey, that had written a book called God, Dr. Buzzard and the Bolito Man. And I was so fascinated with her book that I had to meet her. And she actually said to me, if you want to come meet me on your honeymoon, you come on over. So I said, I'm coming because I want to meet the person who lived this life that she had written about in the book. Because I was like, if this place is in Georgia, how have I lived in Georgia all of my life and not known about Sapelo Island? So my husband and I went over and had a chance to meet and see the culture there, which is the Geechee culture that still thrives on that island. There's so many traditions. And we just fell in love with the island. So we would go visit and we would go back home and we talk about there must be something we can do to help keep the culture on the island. So we had the opportunity to buy some property and went back and forth even further with what to do with it because we didn't want to do anything that would cause any kind of, I guess, extreme growth of something on the island that would change really what makes the island so special. But we did know that tourism was the one thing that could be successful on the island and provide income for some of the people on the island, especially the young people, because in order to save your culture, you really need the young people staying within that culture, having the kids, raising the families and all of that for the culture to continue. So we started the Sapelo Island Birdhouses, and we call them birdhouses because they're on stilts, so they're built really high. And they're built that way by code, so they're required to be built that way because of the hurricanes and everything. And we hired some of the young people to work with us, so that way we were able to fulfill what our mission was. And now it's been, I think, about 9 years that we've been doing the Sapelo Birdhouses. And we've had lots of great guests who've come through, folks like yourself who've come through. And it's a wonderful island, very pristine. Only about 35 people, 40 people, 35 to 40 people live on the island. The island's the size of Manhattan, but only 35 people or so live on the island. And only about 6% of the island is actually developed. So if you can think of Manhattan and how large that is, you can kind of see that there's lots of opportunity for pristine hiking and walking through the maritime forests or walking along the beach or anything like that. But the birdhouses are available for rent, and we have 4 of them on the island. So just come on down and have a great time. We invite people all the time to come.
Sapelo Island is so very beautiful, and it was really kind of you to invite me and my daughter Antasha, and it was absolutely wonderful. The island, beautiful, and your rentals, oh my goodness, I love each and every one of them. Each of them has their own theme. And can you share the theme of a few of them with us?
Sure. Well, the one that's probably the most popular is one that's called the painted bunting. And the painted bunting is a bird that you can actually find on the island. And the male painted bunting almost looks a little bit, in terms of coloring, like a parakeet, with all the different colors. So the painted bunting is a little bit like that, but not quite, a much smaller bird. So that cottage on the inside then has a lot of colorful things. The paintings that are inside, the furnishings all have the primary colors, the red, the blue, yellow, and green colors. So it's very bright, but it's really popular, especially with couples, because it's a great way to get away and have a look at the ocean, which you can see from the porch. You have a great view of the Atlantic Ocean and the marsh. And then right beside it is a cottage that we call our signature cottage. That is the birdhouse cottage. And that one is 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. And it has just really a coastal theme, but also kind of a birdhouse theme, since it is named the birdhouse. And there are all different birdhouses that represent a little bit of everything. If you can think of a theme for a little birdhouse, we probably have one in there like that. Everything from little country stores to what an RV might look like as a birdhouse. So it really makes it a lot of fun. The kids really like those, to see all the different birdhouses. And then we have 2 others that are part of an old historic store that was on Sapelo, and that is the Candy Cottage and the Tea Cake Cottage. And tea cake comes from a cookie that my grandmother used to make. I don't know if some of the viewers and the listeners there know of tea cakes, but it was a big kind of cookie that's almost like a shortbread cookie. And I just thought that would be a great way to honor my grandmother, to name one of the cottages from that cookie that I was always so excited to have, that she made all the time. And that cottage has also too sort of the coastal kind of island feel to it. It has some paintings of African American kind of figures and things like that. It really kind of captures the feel of the Geechee Gullah culture there on the island. And the Candy Cottage is just basically has like a lot of candy balls in the decoration. So a lot of polka dots in different colors. And we just try and mix it up a little bit.
Well, you certainly make traveling fun because the rentals are so beautiful. The decor with each of the themes, I loved visiting every single one of them. Yes, indeed. And I tell you, Miss Anita, um, you have done so much. You excel in every area. Now, in life, I can't imagine that you would go through this life without facing some adversities. Have you faced adversity? And if so, how have you overcome those?
You know, that's a good question. And when you ask that question, one of the things that kind of pops in my mind is the loss of my job at Pan Am, becoming unemployed. And that was a really tough time because I was a homeowner at the time. So that meant I would not have any income coming in. I had a wonderful job, as I've described earlier, where I had a chance to, to really see the world and explore different cultures and different people. And now it's gone, kind of overnight because Pan Am went out of business. So, I mean, that was really, really tough times. But I'll tell you what really got me through it, of course, was my faith, because I think that, if you have a strong faith, you know that the times may be tough now, but that they can get better. But even with having that faith, it is good to have people in your life who can help you through it. And for me, it's usually talking, having someone that's a listening ear, especially those people that really care and are concerned about you. So that's what's been really a strong part of my life throughout whenever things come up, is that small core group of people that I know that I can turn to, and they are as concerned about me getting better and back on track as I am for myself. So that really has been kind of the bonding point with me, for being able to, I guess, get back on track is probably just the best way to do it. Is that I always kind of think of that as something that connects me or bonds me to staying on track, or if I get off track, getting back on. And then, of course, as I mentioned, definitely my faith.
Oh yes, yes, I certainly agree. My faith grounds me, and it's always important to have that circle of love with people that are there for you. And Miss Anita, what advice would you give to women who are facing obstacles right now, and need a little encouragement and advice?
Well, these are tough times right now that we're in. I mean, it's unusual tough times. So I would say similar things. Um, Finding that core group of people, and I think it's important to kind of develop that throughout your life so that when times come up, but also to looking to the community for services that are there to help you, and reaching out to those friends that that can help you and support you as well. But definitely, finding those community groups, because there are a lot of them that are out there right now, so don't feel as though you are alone. There are a lot of people that are having tough times now, and I think as we go on with everything that's going on now, we're going to see that there's more need and there are more people that have similar situations. So I think reaching out, not staying kind of closed in with yourself, but actually reaching out and sharing what you're going through with others who may be going through something similar. And again, as you said, I like your comment, the circle of love. Go into your circle of love for support and just for that listening ear, because sometimes just getting it off of our chest is the first step to really being able to get back on track, make that connection, that bond that I was saying, to what is going to be the next step for you. And then again, pull on your faith. I mean, your church, people that are members of your church that you can go to. It's definitely a key thing. And I always say too, prayer is so important. And it may just be those small prayers that you do throughout the day, or those big prayers, or times that you go out to have a reflection. That's kind of what I do. I have sometimes, it's not every day, but it's sometimes when I go out and I really just have a time of reflection and connecting, with my faith, and saying prayers, and just having, having a conversation with God even. Um, So those kind of things I think are things that can help ground you and make you feel better about everything that's going on. So hopefully, that can be helpful to someone who's struggling now.
Amen to that, Miss Anita. And those are wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom. And let me ask you, what does onward and upward mean to you?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think onward and upward just means staying true to what it is that you want, your goals, your mission, and staying on track with those. And when you get off track, we talked about this a couple of times. When you get off track, going to the support groups, that circle of love that can help get you back on. But always keeping your vision straight, staying on the path, and making sure that if the path seems as though it's going one way or another, that you're real clear on where you want your path to go. So you continue onward, you continue upward and being successful. And don't forget to take a look back and bring someone else along with you. That's very important. That's very key.
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that. And I love what you said finally, and that was don't forget to look back. And not looking back to reflect on negative things that have happened in the past, but look back to bring someone alongside with you. And that is who you are. That's the essence of who you are. That's the Anita I know. That's how you've treated me. That's how you've treated everyone that you've been involved with whenever I've seen you. And those are just wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom. And my friend, I am so thankful that you took the time to be with me today and give such inspiring words of wisdom, not just to me, but to the viewers. And we want to keep the conversation going. We want to keep following you. We want to know about Sapelo Island Birdhouses. We want to know about your travels in the future. We want to know about how we can do social distance traveling in the United States in the next few months. So can you share your websites with us? I know there are several, so we want to get all of them. Can you share your websites and your social media handles?
Oh, thank you so much for asking for that, Leslie, and for allowing me to share it. Because I would definitely like to be an inspiration for people to travel virtually, even, because there's that as well. Because we can dream now and we can, plan, and then we can actually do the traveling later. So there's definitely that. So for the radio show, it is travelbagswithanita.com, where you can find the blog with the tips and things that I mentioned earlier, as well as you can find a link to the shows. There's a listen live button, and there's also the upcoming show that is listed there as well. So you'll find all of that information. For the Sapelo Island Birdhouses, it is Sapelo Island Birdhouses.com, and that is Sapelo, Sapelo. Some people call it Sapelo, but it's on the island they call it Sapelo. So SapeloIslandBirdhouses.com. And then for social media with Sapelo Island Birdhouses, it's just that, Sapelo Island Birdhouses on Facebook and Instagram. And then for the radio show, it is Anita with two N's. My name has two N's, the letter N, and then Friends. So Anita and Friends on Instagram and on Twitter. And on Facebook, it's Travel Bags with Anita. So you can find me there.
Well, thank you so very much for being such an inspiration to others and all of the valuable tips that you provide on both your show, your radio show, and on your blog. We're so appreciative of that. Thank you, Miss Anita, and have a wonderful day.